First things first, the key principles of the remuneration policy. It aligns compensation with the drawn out interests of the company and its investors. It minimizes intricacy and guarantees straightforwardness. It links the yearly business execution of the organization. It promotes a culture of equity and is connected to key execution and business drivers. It's reflective of market seriousness to draw the best ability. Has its interests aligned with its investors. It just means that the values that they share are the same. And those values that are the same means that they have a projected outcome that they would like to achieve. When a culture of equity is executed, it means people who have been previously disadvantaged due to their race, their age, or whatever it may be, their culture or religion, it just means that they are treated fairly in the organization when it comes to a remuneration policy. My side of the presentation is the objective and purpose of a remuneration policy. It decides the compensation dependent on the company's or the business's viewpoint, their monetary position, its development, its patterns and practices. It also adjusts a price and acknowledge system. How is this done? Through a human resources information system or HRIS. It detects employees who have been performing over the course of the month or over the course of the year, and it decides whether or not those employees are enabled to receive a remuneration for that specific performance. It draws, it holds and inspires the ability of a guaranteed long-haul supportability of improving employees. Like I've mentioned before, the Human Resources Information System detects employees who improved over the course of the year or the month, etc. And it helps to pay for performance. It also
I'm Roy Kumar and I'll be doing the compensation theories. So, firstly, we'll have a look at what is a compensation theory. Employers need to effectively encourage and motivate their employees in order to accomplish their goals. This usually requires a compensation theory. This ensures that the compensation in the form of a salary, wages, or otherwise would increase the productivity of employees. This compensation would motivate and encourage employees to work to their utmost best in order to attain these rewards from the employers. So, the first compensation theory we'll have a look at is the reinforcement and expectancy theory. This theory follows a principle whereby the employees who earn the rewards for certain behaviors would be likely to repeat those behaviors. So, if an employee is acknowledged once for doing something good, they continue doing so in order to be rewarded or acknowledged again and again. The expectancy theory sees that the employee is motivated to do certain tasks that they are expected to and that they receive rewards for. So, if an employee does something good once and he knows that he received a reward, the next time does he expect to receive a reward again. This theory is a win-win situation for both employees as well as the employers, as they both benefit from the reinforcement and expectancy theory. Employers have to, though, ensure that they provide a clear and definitive explanation to the employees in order to avoid confusion. Then, the next theory we'll have a look at is the agency theory. In this theory, the employer and the employees are both the stakeholders of an organization. The remuneration paid to an employee is known as an agency cost. In this theory, the employee will try his best in order to increase his agency cost, while the employer would do his best to decrease the agency cost to pay to the employee. This means that the remuneration of the agency cost should be mutually agreed upon between both parties in order to protect both of the interests. So, the agency theory may be a great way to ensure that there is some form of healthy competition within the workplace. However, the agency theory may not be the best theory as it may lead to some form of unhealthy competition as both parties would aim to either increase or decrease the agency costs were to see them working against one another instead of working as a team. This may also motivate employees in the wrong way, where they would be more focused on increase the agency costs rather than prioritizing their work. Same goes for the employers. So, these theories would ensure that the compensation in the form of salaries, wages, or otherwise would be based on the outcome or behavior of employees. This would though motivate and encourage employees to do the work to the best of their abilities in order to attain these rewards.
Good day to all. My name is Nasira Abrams, and today I'll be discussing our remuneration philosophy, our total reward components, as well as the short and long-term incentives available at our company, J&R Consulting. So firstly, the remuneration philosophy. I'll be discussing the main attributes comprising of our remuneration philosophy. Our remuneration philosophy is offered to set the total remuneration package is offered at a cutthroat level that benchmarks it against the market and consequently providing incentives that align with performance levels within our company. Secondly, our reward philosophy additionally strives to allow the greatest flexibility in terms of the operation and reward of our staff and allows individuals to have maximum selections options when choosing their remuneration or their type of incentives that they would like to have. Thirdly, our reward philosophy establishes a favorable environment towards performance through the reward structure by allowing progress and development and by distinguishing appropriately between individuals through the minimum reward approaches given and through the reward process based on their contribution only. Lastly, our reward philosophy develops responsibility and ownership of the reward procedure in alignment with management by allowing them to connect the whole reward process to the business goals and manages it in a reasonable and equal manner so that there is equality and that there is equilibrium for all employees and managers. The total reward components of our remuneration philosophy are as follows. It comprises of compensation, well-being, benefits, development, and recognition. So, firstly, compensation. This entails the pay provided to all employees and employers based on the time, the effort, and the skills offered in return for payment. This payment is in the form of guaranteed pay, which is also known as fixed pay, as well as variable pay, which are the incentives offered to all employees. The average pay for HR consultants at our company is based on performance and can start at an annual amount of 460,500, which is which includes all inclusive contributions and which involves both guaranteed and variable pay before tax deductions. Secondly, well-being. Our company prides itself in ensuring that the workforce is one that is constructive, comfortable, happy, and healthy, taking into account the physical, the mental, and as well as the social and financial factors of all employees. So we offer a variety of mental counseling for mental health. We offer gym membership. We offer yoga classes, which can help employees to feel relaxed before coming to work. Thirdly, our benefits. Our program is dedicated towards health and welfare, financial preparation, income safety, retirement, and time off, which includes leave of absence, aimed at providing full well-being and security for the workforce and for their families. After that is development. Development. Our company prides itself in ensuring that all employees are well developed by providing learning and development programs in the term of um, graduation programs in which we ensure which are overseen by the human resource development department, talent acquisition specialists, as well as the HR managers, and we provide graduate development programs at a period of 12 months in which employees can be involved in on the job training, as well as workshops and seminars or conferences. With regards to recognition, formal or informal programs are evident in our company as an authentic authentic way to acknowledge our employees, and we do that by ensuring that we have employee of the month acknowledgement. We also have extra commissions for employees that go beyond the job duties, as well as formal long service awards where employees of 30, that worked at the company for 30 years or longer are recognized and acknowledged. The short term incentives at our company entails profit sharing, gain sharing, which are calculated to the Scanlon plan, bonus schemes, performance bonus, and differential pay. So profit sharing allows employees to have access to shares at the company's profits that is based on the company's quarterly or yearly earnings. So our company utilizes a pro rata plan which awards are given to individuals and which may also be used in performance target plans. We also utilize gain sharing, in which an organization-wide form, which are calculated based on an organization-wide formula, whereas a company utilizes the Scanlon plan, which differs from profit sharing as it measures that lower level employees can manage and excludes items in the income statement such as tax, depreciation, bad debt, and other economic elements that may impact the profit. The bonus schemes are not formula related in relation to profit sharing and gain sharing, where targets are indeed set. Targets in specific are qualitative or quantitative in nature. The type of bonus schemes at our company includes performance bonus, in which after a successful year of work, a performance bonus are issued to employee who exceed their normal performance levels and we exceed certain job goals. So the bonus is calculated by an amount of an employee's base pay, and at times it includes group tasks in which certain groups exceed their performance levels. So the bonuses offered at our company may start from 2,500 per annum and increase on to 3,000 depending on the skills and competencies of all employees. Next, I'll be discussing the differential pay. So in order to compensate employees who are required to work throughout holidays and shift differentials, our company ensures that employees are incentivized according to the demands in our market. So employees that may be required to work night shift or uncomfortable shifts that are not usually done, we incentivize employees according to the basic conditions of Employment Act by giving them 1.5% of their salary, which is calculated and which may not exceed up to 45 hours a week. I will now discuss the long-term incentives offered at our company, which includes a long service award. These awards are issued to employees where employees have worked for 30 years or longer at the company. So employees are given awards, and there's also a tree planting ceremony along with a gift card of 1,000 Rand offered to employees. Next, we have retirement benefits. So for our organization, the retirement age is 60 years, and the organization will choose to continue paying retirement and medical funds until employees are of 65 years of age. The value of the employees' contributions to these funds would be taxed as a perk to the employee's hands whilst it remains deductible by the employer. Share schemes. Our company also offers share schemes, which are in order to encourage employees to be equipped with shareholder thinking and to retain hard talent within our company. We utilize share schemes of share purchase schemes, which are given to each participant and generally held in a trust until the vesting period according to the performance schedule that is met. The performance schedule that is met entails the profits that must exceed the previous year by inflation plus 1%. Our minimum vesting period is a minimum of 2 years, whereas a maximum of the vesting period is 10 years. So these share schemes are equity based as they appreciate over time based on the company's organizational performance and based on the stock market. That is all for my presentation, and I will now hand over to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon class and Mr. Lebogo. My name is Nanden Yagaza and I will be presenting on the employee benefits allowances. We'll also be talking about the link to performance management. We'll also be talking about the retention strategy and the conclusion. So let's just get into it real quick. The employee benefits, employee benefits definition will be first is a form of compensation that is paid by employees to employers, which is paid by employers to employees, and this compensation is over and above regular salary and wages. Another definition states that employee benefits are an indirect, non-cash or cash compensation paid to employees. Some employees' benefits are a law requirement, and a perfect example of this, which are the examples that we'll be talking about later, is UIF, the Unemployment Insurance Fund. So let's go into the employee benefits at JNR. The employee benefits at JNR include Unemployment Insurance Fund, UIF, which entails the employers contributing 1% and employees contributing 1% on a monthly basis. And these are the legally required employee benefit contributions, which we would recommend the learning organization have. UIF as number one. Number two would be COIDA, compensation for occupational injuries and diseases, and this is a fund that employers contribute to, and this is important because it allows for when incidents happen where an employee is disabled, they can get compensation to allow them to have money while they are not working. COIDA does operate on a no-fault basis, meaning that regardless of if the incident happened was caused by the employer or any other employee, compensation for injuries is also based on the degree or disablement because of the incident, meaning it doesn't matter whether the employee caused it or a fellow employee. COIDA operates on a no-fault basis, meaning the employee still gets paid. And it goes on to further say that employees may be entitled to an increased compensation if upon further investigation it is discovered that the disablement is caused by carelessness of the employer or a fellow employee, which is negligence. Number three, and the last one, which is part of the law required employee benefits that we would recommend that the learning organization have, is a skills development levy. And this was created to provide for the imposition of a skills development levy. The skills development levy was thus imposed to promote development and learning in South Africa. So this is a fund to make sure that employees can keep improving their skills. And in a learning organization, that's an important aspect of making sure that your employees are continuously learning and they are continuously improving as employees and learning new things. They usually refer to it as the Kaizen principle, which is continuous improvement. So employee allowances. An employee allowance is defined as money that a company or government agency provides to an employee for things such as transportation, healthcare costs, or flexible spending account. Another practical example of this would be when an organization does not impose a specific healthcare or medical aid scheme that employees may need to use. So that might mean they'll give you, they'll say you can go to Discovery and pick whatever plan you want. We're not forcing you to pick a specific plan, but you can go to Discovery and choose a plan which caters to your needs. The first one that we recommend an allowance that the learning organization should have is medical aid. We at JNR have a plan with Discovery Health, which enables our employees to go and choose a plan to their liking, from the executive plan, which is the most expensive, down to the key care core plan. Second one is travel allowance, which is any allowance paid or given amount to an employee in respect to traveling expenses for business purposes. This is any money for traveling that is ensued or traveling that is done to ensure that business can be done. The third one is the car allowance, and there are two options for car allowance. There's one where you need to keep a logbook detailing all private and business kilometers traveled, and then also you have to make sure that you keep slips and invoices of any repairs, wear and tear, fuel, those type of things, just in case SARS needs to do an audit. And option number 2 also involves making sure you keep those documents on stock, but they don't need you to keep a copy of slips and invoices for car allowance. And the 4th one is an acting allowance, which is paid to an employee who temporarily performs the functions and responsibilities of a higher post when the post is vacant. We did this as a means to combat job loss as a result of COVID-19. Next point is retention strategy, which is to keep the incentive simple, and in this portion we ensure that there are 2 to 4 performance factors when it comes to determining the level of performance that employees fall under, and they can accurately explain this and know where they fall in based on how they have performed. The second one is pay employees salaries and incentives. We know that a salary is paid for work done, work that is required to be done, of course, based on employment contracts. But an incentive is there so that employees can have the opportunity to increase their earnings. And the incentive is also used as a bonus and motivation for extraordinary work, either done in a work week or on a work calendar. And this could be in the form of a 13th check as well. Number 3 goes on to say determine what competitors are paying. Once you know what your competitors are paying, you can offer the same or more, and it just allows you to make sure that your employees know that they are valued when it comes to what competitors are paying. Number 4 goes on to say provide employees with non-financial rewards. And a perfect example of this, what we do at JNR is we give employees 5 options that we have. We have different non-financial rewards, and we give them 5 options which caters to their personality types. And the one that seems to be chosen the most is usually an annual trip, which we pay for their whole families to take trips, and that allows them to be with their families, and this is a paid leave that they are allowed to take. Number 5 is modify the salaries of employees based on their geographical location. This just entails looking at the cost of living of where your company is located and matching your compensation to the cost of living so that employees don't feel like they're being paid less than they can be in the place that they are for, if that makes sense, because there are companies that pay less than the cost of living, and it becomes a bit difficult for their employees to feel valued in those type of situations. Then the 3 additional strengthening strategies, which we said here, the last 3 are long-term incentives, which include student loan repayments, company shares, paid family leave, charitable donations, and scholarships for employee dependents. This is just long-term incentives that proves that the company is looking to have a long-term partnership with you. The next one is scarcity allowance, which just in shorthand refers to paying people with scarce skills their deserved money. In South Africa, we have scarce skills, and having those type of people in your organization means you have an advantage over other organizations. So pay those people who have those skills. And a retention payment is a lump sum a company gives a person to stay at the organization for a specific time, and that payment usually takes place at the beginning in your induction to kind of say, will you please stay with us for 5 years, for example, and because you are agreeing to this, we'll pay you a certain amount of money. Now let's move on to that, which is linking compensation or remuneration to performance systems. The first portion is SMART performance outputs. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based performance outputs. It just means your outputs must be smart, let's say. Specific performance outputs, measurables performance outputs, achievable performance outputs, relevant performance outputs, and time-based. And there must be an establishment of monthly and annual revenue goals, which just means employees know that they have goals to reach, and that reaching those goals mean they'll get compensated. Pay determined by individual and team performance, meaning as much as some companies might be more beneficial in working for a team and some might be more beneficial in working for individuals, pay pay should be determined by both. So when you get compensated, it doesn't just have to be for individual excellence, it can be also for team excellence. We recommend that you pay for both. Um, then there are three rules when linking compensation and performance systems. Rule number one, establish and communicate a clear value sharing philosophy. And this just ensures that there's a cohesiveness, and it is vital that expectations communicated to employees correspond with the results that are important to shareholders. The next one is focusing on a line of sight, and this entails performance management is not the end goal. It is just a method to ensure that strategic priorities are met and that the roles are being properly executed to ensure that revenue and profits are where they are supposed to be. So when you're focusing on the line of sight, it means you have set a goal and that's where you're planning to go. It's not the end goal. The system shouldn't be the end goal, but it should just be a way to get to where you want to be, and it should be a continuous part of the culture of the company. Number three, make sure your pay strategy is both agile and enduring. People that can adapt to the market and the changing trends in organizations are the ones who usually stay the longest. So we're just saying being adaptable and make sure that your company, your pay strategy is strong but adaptable. We will now be talking about the relationship that must exist between the following elements to ensure that the strategy is both agile and enduring. I mean, to make sure that you can, the first one is the company mission and vision, which is why the company exists and where it plans to be in the future. Once employees know this, they know where you're going. Number two talks about the business model and strategy, which is how the business gets to their profits. Once you know this, you stick to your system and you keep going towards it. Roles and expectations, the strategic purpose of each employee. If they know this, they know what is expected of them. Rewards, how employees will be compensated. Once employees know the rewards that are offered to them, they know what they're getting once they perform well. Personal contribution ambitions, meaning help employees reach personal goals as well as organizational goals. We're now going on to the conclusion. The conclusion goes on to state that we have offered a remuneration policy to a learning organization, which is highly detailed and highly structured and goes about telling them how they should go about this policy in the best way that would suit their organization as well as their industry. We thank you very much for listening. Thank you.